a look back at the week in high school sports. Brought to you by St. Anthony Rehab Services. Here's Sports Director Jeff Blankman, John Ryan, and Jeff Honold.
Well, we may be short of Jeff today, but that's okay. I think we'll manage to make it through.
We had enough of them on Sunday, right?
Probably. Sports Director Jeff Blankman, John Ryan with you here on KCIM Sports Rewind. Just coming off the KCIM Sports Rewind All-Star Game that happened this past Sunday. What a terrific time. Thanks to you, Jeff, for putting all that together. That was a fantastic day.
Yeah, and thanks to all the kids and coaches.
Oh, yeah, by the way, them too.
Yeah, all the parents that came out, had a nice crowd. Had, I think, all but 5 or 6 kids at least there for a little while and stuff. So, yeah, it turned out to be a great day. Everybody that I've talked to so far had a lot of fun. I know the senior girls and boys that played in the All-Star Game were like, yeah, we thought we were in better shape than we were, but it was a lot of fun, but we did get a little tired running up and down the floor.
Yeah, they haven't been out on the floor for a little while. A couple of weeks is all it takes. You just kind of get out of that basketball shape. But one player stole the show.
Yes.
And that happened in the girls' All-Star Game. Samantha Brown from Glidden Ralston absolutely rocked it from beyond the three-point line.
Yeah, all-time leading three-point shooter in Glidden Ralston history, holds this single-game record at 10 for made threes in a game, and she went out and matched it. I thought maybe she would break it in the All-Star Game, but matched it with 10 that day.
I tell you what, I mean, it wasn't just three-pointers. She was shooting 5, 6, 7 feet beyond the three-point line.
Yes.
I mean, that's showcasing the range
Steph
right
Curry
there.
range. Yeah.
That was incredible to see that. Even at about 5 or 6, the crowd was like, how many is that? And then they started to kind of count it up. We weren't even familiar with it. We were at the scorer's table. Thankfully, Nick Brinks was up there keeping score, and he did the video. So if you want to see the video, that's posted online.
Yes, it is.
It's really cool. One of the more entertaining games around. Not a lot of defense, but you know what? That's what the All-Star games are for.
Yeah, I know I officiated the boys' game, and there was one time it would happen right in front of some people, and a kid caught the pass. I think it was Ben Brinks caught the pass, and his heel went out of bounds, and they all looked at me, and I'm like, it's an All-Star game. I ain't going to call him out of bounds.
Yeah, we're not gonna bother with the little detail stuff with that.
Yeah, they all started laughing.
Yeah, and the boys' game, we dang near cracked 100 points.
Yes, we did.
It was very entertaining as guys got shuffled in and out of the lineup. Yeah.
Guys kind of did some highlight moves. We had a dunk in there, and had a few dunk attempts in there. Yeah.
Plus, of course, we did a three-point shooting contest. That came down to a couple of South Central Calhoun Titans.
It did, yeah. Matthew Clark, had 14, I think, in the opening round, and Heidi Hammond, if I remember right, was right up around that too.
She had 10 in the opening round,
and then in the finals, the shoot-off between the two champions, between the girls and boys, was all South Central Calhoun, and Heidi went out for a second straight year. We've had a girl win. Taylor Huska won it last year. Heidi Hammond, your overall champion this year.
I tell you what, that was great. I mean, after sitting around for about an hour, then you got to go out and all of a sudden you get 45 seconds to shoot. She did pretty darn well.
Yeah, she did. And that's the one thing I got to probably add in next year is I got to give them maybe a 5-10 minute window in between games and the start of the three-point contest to give the kids a chance to come out of the stands and get warmed up a little bit ahead of that. But we were running a little bit late on the timing that I had hoped, so we kind of cut out that that chance for them to be able to shoot. So
yeah, but watch the All-Star game, the boys' game and the girls' game. They were really entertaining games.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people were having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, and Ben Lingle able to win a little money off of Pete Collison when he knocked in the half-court shot at the halftime of the girls' game. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a little something for everybody going on that day.
Absolutely.
So that's all posted online at our KCIM Facebook page. By the way, our thanks to Johnston Communications are back, and we have our special guest host filling in for Jeff Honold today.
Yeah, much more fun to have him in the studio.
I think it adds a lot more to the show.
It
does.
You
ask me.
Yes. Yeah, they look similar.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a couple special guest interviews coming up in a few moments.
We do.
Tell us who we got with us.
We've got Anna Fleece, former Glidden Ralston Wildcat. She plays rugby up at Wayne State College. They've won another national championship. I think she's got 4 or 5, if I remember right now.
I think she said 3 in the last 4 years,
Three
maybe.
In the last, yeah. So, they'll start their second rugby season of the year coming up here. Well, they've already started it, through the snow. They just shovel it out and go play. But we'll talk to her about that. She played in an all-star game down in Florida earlier this year for rugby. And then a guy that was graduated by the time I came to the area, but a guy that I still hear a lot about all the time. Wesley Bishoner, the great Southern Cal Mustang that went up to USD. I think he still holds all the passing records, right?
He holds most of them. Chris Strevler said a few of them, but Wesley was just a huge offensive force. That was still back when USD was probably a Division II school.
Yes,
they were just ready to make that leap up to Division I. But Wesley kind of came on board, and it was the one place that would said, "Yeah, you can try playing quarterback." And Wesley talks about that in the interview. But he is now the head coach of Wisconsin Eau Claire. And I tell you what, he's doing remarkably well in the college game. He's coached at some big time universities: Pittsburgh, Maryland, Rice. He has been the associate head coach at the USD Coyotes program for a while there. So Wesley's an entertaining guy, high energy guy, and you made a great comparison.
Dan McCarney is who he reminded me of for all those Cyclone fans out there. When you listen to him talk, you just want to find a wall and run through it for him because that's the energy level that he brings to you.
Yeah, you can tell he's very relatable to the kids. Kids are going to love playing for Wesley Bishoner, former Southern Cal Mustang. Played for Don Bolware when they won their championship. Brian Case, a guy named Brian Case, was on the staff as well.
He's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's continued that success up there. So we'll talk with Wesley a little bit later on. Anna Fleece, though, from Wayne State.
Wayne State,
Coming up next on KCIM Sports Rewind.
As the athletes at your house prepare for hard work. If an injury is keeping your athlete out of the game, call St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services at 794-5000 for sports injury and treatment rehab.
Welcome back to KCIM Sports Rewind. We are going to get an education right now. Jeff Blankman, sports director, with us. Jeff, you invited a special guest in here with us, Anna Fleece, who has got an interesting story to her college athletic career, one that we don't normally find around this area.
Yeah, absolutely. She was a great athlete over at Glidden Ralston for her 4 years over there, and then headed up to Wayne College. And wasn't too long, I don't think, Anna, after you got up to Wayne, that you found the sport of rugby and got involved. I know we had you on here a few years ago to kind of talk about this, but kind of let our listeners know again kind of how was the story that you got involved in the sport of rugby.
Did rugby find you, or did you find rugby? One of the two.
Rugby kind of found me. My roommate had friends who played rugby. She's from Omaha. And so we're like, let's just go to tryouts. Let's try it out. Wayne really recruits a lot from the student body. So we went down to the career fair, and one of the my future teammates grabbed me and goes, "You look athletic. Come play rugby." And so we just went to a couple of practices, and we've been out since 3 years later. So
how long did it take for you to really adjust to it and really say, wow, this is something I want to do?
It honestly took a week. After our first game, I was like, you know what, I want to stay in this. This is fun. And then after, I think, 2 seasons, it clicks, and you finally just start going.
So what was it about rugby that you kind of fell in love with it? It's, within a week you were like, I want to do this.
Yeah, I think the main thing was from high school, I didn't have a sport I was in college. I was like, oh, this is a community I want to be a part of. But the community is huge, and then just the aggressiveness of the sport, you can do stuff you can't do in other sports in high school.
You're just wishing you could go back and play basketball with these kind of rules. So what was it about the sport that really, how long did it take you to catch on to it? Did you have any knowledge of it at all?
Oh, I didn't even know what it was. I had not a clue. But with Wayne Rugby, it's kind of special. You learn a ton from our coach. He's a huge fundamentalist, great passion about the game, but you also learn a ton from the upperclassmen. They're like the real leaders on the team, so I learned everything from them. And when we first started, they were the ones who really started getting it going. They helped it click.
And I suppose winning leads to really liking the sport.
Yes, that helps too.
How quickly did you start to pick things up and kind of understand the rules and maybe what your role was?
I picked up the game pretty fast. The rules kind of comes a little slower. Definitely have to read the rule book on that. I mean, even this year, I was still picking up new things. They always update the rules every year, so little things are changing. But yeah, I always have to keep updated on that.
All right, teach us a little bit about rugby. There's 2 different games, 15s and 7s.
Yep.
Talk about that and what your position is and what your goal is.
For 15s, there's a lot more moving parts. You have the scrum, which is usually the bigger, stronger girls, and they're pushing against the scrum on the other team to secure the ball. And then you have the backs, which are the faster people, really fast and skinny. And my position in 15s is 8-man, so I'm on the back of the scrum holding everyone together, and I keep the ball in. And then 7s, I guess it's called the 5 position. I get the ball off the scrum half, it's similar to the quarterback, I would say, in football. And 7s is a lot less moving parts, much faster game.
Yeah, I like the way you equated it. You said the 15 game is more like 11-man football, and the 7 is more like a wide-open 8-man game. So
very similar.
So when you do that, the seasons are at different times of the year, right? So you don't have to be in shape to play 80 minutes and then 14 minutes, right? Those are the difference in the times. But yeah, so how do you get yourself ready for each of the different seasons? Because each one's probably different and demanding physically, I would imagine.
Yes, it is. 15s usually we have heavier set girls, really work on strength and power. You're having like shorter bursts of speed running into the other team. We condition, I think, 3 or 4 times a week. We have morning conditionings. We actually have a girl on the team who's called our Sergeant of Arms who's in charge of that. So 15s is a lot more power. 80 minutes. You're out there a long time. And then 7s is definitely more fast-paced game, sprinting.
Which one do you enjoy more?
Personally, I enjoy 7s because I don't like to run, so it's a lot less time to be out there.
You get to be the one deciding where the ball goes.
Exactly. Yep.
Again, talk about your teammates in this. Did any of them have backgrounds in rugby before they got to Wayne State? Because you really don't hear about it a lot around here.
Right.
No, my freshman year, not a single person on the team had ever played rugby before. But Wayne, our college program is growing a lot. We're elevated club rugby. So we're not just club, but the school helps us pay for certain things. So now we're able to recruit and bring people into the college. So we have a couple girls from, I would say, Kansas, Wisconsin. We had a couple girls from Colorado. And this year we had an Australian on the team. So that was really cool to see. So
somebody who knew the rules coming in.
Yes, that was awesome.
So what did she bring to the team then as far as knowledge and passion for the game?
Oh, yeah, she's very passionate about the game. It was really cool to see because our vets have a lot of experience with it. But it was really awesome to have her come in and show us the little things that we had never got to experience.
Okay. Now, I got to ask, you mentioned here earlier that you're kind of in the back of the pack and you try to keep the ball in the scrum or whatever. So how does the ball come out of the scrum to the girls that are supposed to be running with it? I've never seen rugby enough to understand that part of it.
From watching, it just squirts out and somebody's got it and they run. That's what I know.
Our scrum half rolls the ball into the tunnel, is what they call it.
Okay.
And both the scrum sides engage, so they push against each other. It's a lot of core strength, it really is. And then the middle person on each of the front rows is called the hooker. And pretty much she just hooks it with her foot backwards, but at the same time both scrums are pushing against each other. And so the ball slowly works its way back, and then I hold it in with my foot. Okay. So I don't really do too much back there. But
okay. So then how does it come out and people have to pick it up and run, right?
Yep. And then our scrum half runs around the side and picks it up and gets it out to the fast people.
Okay. See, I've never seen rugby except for a little bit on TV, so it's hard to kind of picture how this all happens.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Just being in Australia was all over TV down there, of course, and you see it. But there were some wicked collisions. This is a violent sport. It kind of seems like a violent sport.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. One thing that we really stress on is technique. You don't see as many concussions in rugby. It looks really rough, but our tackling technique's a little different than football. You have to wrap up with your hands. So you're not just hitting people as hard as you can and flying everywhere.
You're not going head first into anybody. But you've got to wake up with some wicked bruises.
Oh, they're very fun. It's always a game to see who has the best one.
and I really like the response. She says they're always fun. That's kind of a badge of honor the way it sounds in this sport.
It really is. Yeah, lots of cleat marks. If you get a black eye, that's the highest one. You always want the black eye.
I don't even think football players would be wanting to do that too much, So, hey, you guys are tougher than football players, probably.
Yeah, it's a little topic of, I don't know.
Now, how many games in a season do you play? How many 15? How many 7s?
15s, we play from September until December. I think we have 10 or 14 games. Only play usually one game a week. If it's a tournament, 20-minute halves, because, you can't play 80-minute games. And then 7s, also tournament style. You probably have 5 or 6 games on 2 days. So
you've been playing all 3 years you've been there. You've also gone on to maybe try to go on a little bit beyond Wayne State on the national level. Talk about that.
So our region, they have tryouts for our region, and all the teams like Simpson, SDSU, USD, SMSU all go up there, and they try out for a select site team. So we had the opportunity, quite a few Wayne players were able to go down to Florida and play for the NSCO Select Site All-Star team in Florida. So that was really fun.
Take us through that. What was that event like?
That was pretty crazy. I mean, the weather was beautiful, so that was nice. I was the squad leader of that team, so it was a little bit more pressure than I was used to, but just the opportunity to play with all these higher level girls was really cool.
But that's got to be, being the head of that, that's more pressure, but it also helps you out maybe in the future with other things that you're going to be doing in life, because all of a sudden you're kind of leading a pack of kids, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It was very similar to leading our Wayne team as well. But yeah, I really look forward to doing more of that in the future. It was really cool.
Do you guys ever play on artificial turf?
We do, yes.
Do you? That's got to be rough.
Yeah, it is. Turf burn is awful, but it's really fun to be able to play indoors. Like when we were in Iowa City a couple weeks ago, that was really nice. I mean, we usually don't get to play until the end of March because of the weather, so that was a great opportunity.
Now, speaking of the weather, Jeff asked you this question beforehand. He was looking at outside. You got a spring season? How do you guys play outside right now?
Lots of scooping the snow. I mean, I know a couple of years ago we had the boys D1 playoffs on Wayne's field, and they just scooped the snow away so you could see the lines, and they just played through the snow.
Wow!
So you guys are out there in shorts and a long shirt. How do you stay warm?
It just goes numb. Yeah, we had for our regional for 15s last semester, we had Mira Costa up here from a team from California. They were not prepared. It was -2, and they had to go thrift shopping for winter coats, but it was rough, but they pushed through.
Now, you say black guys are the best. You go numb in cold weather. It hurts a lot. Do your parents know you're doing this?
Yes.
What's their reaction when you said you wanted to go play rugby?
Well, my mom's a nurse practitioner, so at first she was like, oh my gosh, no, like, you're going to get concussion. But then they saw it, and they were as addicted as I were after they saw the first
I thought they were going to say, then they saw it, then they were really against it.
They come and try to make most of your matches, right?
They do. They're really supportive. They were able to fly down to Georgia for our championship, and then they also flew down to Florida to watch that. I think it's mostly the nice weather. But
talk about the championships, because you guys have a very successful program there at Wayne.
Yeah, we are defending 3 times for 15s, and then going into 7s this season will be 2-time defending. So
what's it like to play on a national championship team? That's got to be pretty special.
It really is, yeah. I think there's a lot of misconception when it comes to Wayne. They think we're this D1 school with this huge enrollment, but the teams we play are like 3 times our size. So I think that speaks a lot for our program. But it's almost like home now, going back to Georgia, because we played there so many times. It's really nice.
Wow.
Do you feel pressure? Do you feel pressure to keep winning national championships?
I think our team changes so much every year. It's like a different kind of pressure. I mean, there's definitely some, but each year we never talk about nationals. We're always just like, we're going to keep getting better each game. We're going to practice like we're the underdogs, like we have nothing to lose, and then just keep moving forward with that.
So you got about 3 more seasons to go. You got 7s, then next year, correct?
Yep.
What's the plan for after college? Are you going to continue to stay in something like this, play like club leagues, things like that?
Yep, I'm hoping to move on to get my master's. So there's a lot of women's teams, so I'm hoping to join one of those for sure.
How about coaching?
I don't know.
Do you ever see this moving down to the high school level?
I do. Like my cousin right now, she's in 3rd or 4th grade, and she already went to a camp in Ankeny for this. So that's really cool to see. But yeah, it's really blooming at the high school level, and that'd be really cool to coach there.
And you said it's really big in like Omaha already, right?
Yeah, huge in Omaha, huge in Des Moines even. The teams down there, we had the chance to go watch some high school teams play to recruit. It's just really cool to see it grow.
So now you said here a little bit ago you played over in Iowa City here earlier this week. Did you play the Hawkeyes?
We played their B side because their A side was playing for the D1 qualifiers. But we were able to play Simpson, it's our big rivals. We play them every year to go to nationals for 7s. We played Notre Dame. Our only loss of that tournament was to a Chicago Lions women's team, and they're one of the best in there, so that was really cool to experience that.
I mean, you're talking big-time college programs.
Yeah, so what's it like being from Glidden, going to Wayne, and you're playing against Notre Dame and Iowa? That's got to be a pretty special feeling.
It's pretty terrifying at first, honestly. My first freshman game, they're like, all right, we're going up to play UNI. And, like, all these kids are from Nebraska. They don't know UNI, Iowa State. Right. And I was like, what? I don't want to go do that. But it turned out really well. But, yeah, it's just being able to play these big schools is really cool.
Well, what a cool story you've got, Anna.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what, rugby has taken you a long way so far in college, and best of luck in the upcoming season, and we hope to catch up with you again sometime.
Thank you.
All right, Anna Fleece once again joining us here from Wayne College and playing rugby on the collegiate level.
As the athletes at your house prepare for hard work and fun of the season, remember that St. Anthony Rehab Services provides physical therapy for any sports injury that may sideline your member of the team. Sports injuries can plague kids of all ages and keep them from playing the sport they love. Athletes will be under the direct supervision of a certified and licensed healthcare professional in the newly renovated sports performance facility. If an injury is keeping your athlete out of the game, call St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services at 794-5000 for sports injury and treatment rehab.
Welcome back to KCIM Sports Rewind. I'm thrilled to have our next guest on. I've been wanting to have this guy on, probably one of my number one guests here for a long time. Jeff,
Yes.
I've talked about this guy for a while.
I started in 2004, and you've been talking about him since I got here.
Exactly, yeah. It is Wesley Bashauner, former Southern Cal Mustang quarterback, defensive back, punt returner. Did everything on those football teams those years. Just a thrill to watch. Went on to a fantastic career at the University of South Dakota. Has a great football story, but we got him right here on the phone with us right now, and the reason we have him is because Wesley was recently named the head coach at Wisconsin-Eau Claire. Congratulations on the position, Wesley, and it's got to be a lifetime dream to be a college football head coach.
Yes, it is. It's been a whirlwind, but this is something I wanted to be back in the Midwest, obviously, for a lot of reasons. I've moved around a little bit. My wife's from North Dakota. I'm from, obviously, Lorville. Get to see my parents, her parents, and they get to see their grandparents. My kids get to see their grandparents. To be a head coach, that's a hard job. It's a hard job to get into, and I'm fired up for it, fired up to get going, and we're already going, but fired up to even know more about these kids that we have here.
Now, you've got a great football story behind you. And I said this off air. I said you were the best high school football player that I had covered in my time in over 20-plus years. So
I don't know about that.
Okay, we agreed on the gutsiest high school football player.
I don't know about that either. I just appreciate you saying that.
Talk about your recruitment. You went to college at the University of South Dakota. You wanted to play quarterback, and you weren't given that opportunity a lot of places, but USD was willing to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, so that was something, I played for Coach Boulware, Brian Case, Scott Trost. Those were my coaches in high school, and Coach Boulware and Coach Case, Coach Trost, they helped me develop as a player. I played a lot of different positions just because, number one, I thought it was the best thing to help the team, and they allowed me to do that. And so I felt like having the opportunity to play quarterback could help any program that you go to more than any other position. So that was one thing that I was extremely fired up with. At South Dakota, it was actually John Austin, Brad Salem, and Brent Salem were recruiting me, and they said, yeah, we'll let you try it, quarterback. So that's where I went.
I would say you were pretty successful. You set most of the major offensive records there in your time at quarterback, but it wasn't an easy start. It took you a little bit to get going, didn't it?
Yeah, so I was so good at quarterback, they moved me to receiver. And then I was so good at receiver, they had to move me back to quarterback. No, it was everybody has one of those stories. And sometimes it's not as maybe publicized. Sometimes when it's a quarterback, that's not what typically happens. But, there's tons of guys who play different positions and move around, and they eventually kind of find their niche. But that was something that always intrigued me, was playing quarterback. Even when I was playing receiver, I was doing whatever I could to play receiver, but I was turning punts. But I always wanted to play quarterback, and I worked at it. I told the coaches that, hey, I'll do whatever helps the team, but I still want to do whatever I can to be and play quarterback, and I thought that was the best way for me personally that I could help the team.
Wesley, Jeff Blankman here. How do you feel like playing quarterback helped you to get to where you are today and as a head coach and kind of understanding probably every aspect of the game? Because even as a quarterback, you got to understand how to read defenses so you know the looks they're trying to give you.
I think it goes back to when I was in high school, honestly. You have a chance to play a number of different positions. We were really well coached. Did we have some elaborate offensive scheme? No. Did we have some defensive scheme that was super elaborate? No. They taught us really good fundamentals, and that kind of that piqued my interest. Like I said, Coach Case, he's doing a great job there now. Coach Boulware did a great job for us now, Coach Trost. But, you learn every different type of position there, and that's what I think kept those teams successful, is everybody was into it for a number of different reasons. They were into it because not only were they being taught a lot about life and a lot about football, but they were being taught, the different aspects of football. And I think getting to college when you play quarterback, you have to know kind of all of it. And if you don't, you're not going to be very successful. So obviously had really good coaches there and great teammates, learned from some great guys. Coach Glenn Caruso, Ed Meyercourt, those guys really helped me develop as a player. And my brother was there. That was just so valuable to have him, to bounce ideas off of him. He was a coach, and that kind of helped get some things going.
Now, when did you know you wanted to go into coaching after school? Was that always kind of the plan?
It's going to sound silly, but, I wanted to play professional football because it's just what I love to do. I've been growing up playing football, and, I watched my brother play football, and it was something I wanted to do. And I did do that for a little bit, played some arena football. I was in the CFL for just a brief moment. But, as I got into college sports and college football, I just saw how I connected with those guys, how I connected with those coaches, how I connected with my fellow players. And it's just such a unique deal that it's hard to explain. I even struggle to explain it to my wife, and it's just something that you see and you feel every day. And, that's why. I mean, it's just something that's, I think, a part of you. And you get to develop young men into men. Their parents have obviously done a great job because that's where they're at right now. But I think you can kind of take another step.
Wesley, you got to really love the sport to want to coach it too, because if you look at your career, coaches move around a lot, especially earlier in their year. So you've got to be willing to just pack up and go, the way it seems.
Yeah, just did that. My wife's still in Maryland with our boys, so it's a different lifestyle, I guess, than what most people go through, but other people go through it, whether they're in the military or whatever. So it's a great lifestyle, but it is definitely different. The whole moving thing we've had to do the past couple of years, not had to or chose to, both, has been interesting. But that was a big reason why I wanted to come here. Wanted to, get a chance to be a head football coach. So you don't have to just keep looking for different jobs, or they're not just that's not gonna happen. Hopefully, it can be a little bit more on your terms.
Well, once you were done playing at USD, you were a coach there for a while. In fact, the associate head coach and offensive coordinator. You guys had some big wins, put up some big offensive numbers. Then you're talking colleges, Pitt, Rice, Maryland. That seemed like pretty glamorous programs. I'm sure the lifestyle maybe wasn't all that glamorous from time to time, but talk about your path.
Yeah. Being at South Dakota was awesome. Was a GA there, then was the quarterback coach, then the offensive coordinator, and Coach Ed Meyercourt was the head coach. And he was great for me in my professional career. He would bounce ideas off me. I would do the same thing with him, and, just being with them a lot, playing for him. And then, obviously, Coach Joe Glenn, he'll be a Hall of Fame guy in college football. I think he's in a couple Hall of Fames right now, but just learning how he did things, the places he'd been. He was a fellow Coyote. Then going to Pittsburgh, Pat Narduzzi, is a great coach, just learned a different way. Everybody's got kind of their own way of doing things, and I got to meet and got to know. He's a great friend of mine now, Matt Canada. He's helped me a lot in my career. Then went to Rice, Coach Bailiff. I mean, you can't say enough good things about him. He'll be a guy that goes into college football Hall of Fame as well. He's a great man, one of the best. Unfortunately, we didn't have a very good record. Great kids there. And then went to Maryland, went through some, just not fun times for so many reasons. Probably changed me as a coach as much as anything, but was there with Coach Canada, and some of my great friends were on that staff that just got there, and then obviously having the opportunity to be a head coach here and kind of get my feet on the ground, and we'll figure it out as we go.
Coach, what was it about Wisconsin Eau Claire that made you decide that this is the place that you wanted to be and kind of settle down as a head coach?
Well, a lot of proximity. It's in the Midwest. I connect with a lot of kids, I believe, that are from the Midwest, just similar backgrounds, I would say. And to me, I like to get to know the people that I'm going to be working with on maybe a personal level to see how everybody interacts with one another. Not everybody's going to get along. Not everybody's going to be buddy-buddy, but there's a lot of energy with the kids that are 18 to 23. You all know that. And if you can get that energy flowing in the right way, great things can happen. And I've had a meeting with every one of these players on the team. That was the first and foremost thing I wanted to do. That was before I was going to tell them, this is what I'm doing. I want to make sure that they get to know me and I get to know them. And I'm going to continue to do that. But it was really, it was close to the Midwest. And anytime there's a chance to be a head football coach at the college level, those jobs are hard to get. That was something that I've wanted to do for some time now.
A lot of coaches come into situations where they got to turn a program around. I don't think you're in that situation here. You're replacing a coach that's going to North Dakota State University, of course, one of the premier Division I schools up in the Midwest. So what kind of program are you taking over?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think I'm still learning that, honestly. They had some really good players that graduated, and we're going to kind of find our way through it. I don't know anywhere else to explain, but I know that they're great kids. They're kids that work really, really hard, and if we work together, I think we will be in good shape.
Wesley, what kind of style are we going to see out of your football teams now that you have control as the head coach?
I think I know the answer to this one, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to give just like the straight political answer, but if there's one thing, like you were saying, we're going to play with a lot of guts, and we're going to play really hard. And if we play with a lot of guts and we play really hard, I think you can win a lot of games. That's my primary goal, is to just bring the best out of people and then bring the best out of me. And if they can do that and we can do that, I'm fired up for it.
Yeah, I would expect nothing less. I mean, you got a wide-open style, very aggressive, always keeping the pressure on the defense is what I would kind of maybe expect out of an offense you got.
Yeah, hopefully that's it. Sometimes you got to slow it down. But, no, I mean, we're going to play to our strengths. I know that. And we're going to get the best players the ball. If we do that, then we're going to give ourselves the best shot to win. But at the same time, I mean, we're going to be attention to detail. We're going to practice really hard. We're going to play really hard. And if we do that, honestly, learning from those guys even back home, you do that, you're going to give yourself a shot. And then it's just about believing that you do have that shot. So, like I said, getting to know these guys, I think they have a lot of that in them. So fired up to work with them towards next season.
You're in the Iowa Football Hall of Fame for high school. You're in the South Dakota Football Hall of Fame for their college career. Now you're in Wisconsin, starting a head coaching career. Your wife, by the way, Kiki, was a great track athlete at USD. You guys have 3 sons. Have you started recruiting your sons yet for football? I know they're a little young yet. But...
Well, there's one that's out there, and this is when Joe Glenn actually first got the job at South Dakota. He offered Burke, my oldest son, a scholarship. And then offered Rhett a scholarship. So I'm going to hold South Dakota to that. No, I'm just kidding. But, no, I mean, they're going to be who they are. She was a much better athlete than I was. She was a lot faster. She's certainly a lot better looking than I am. So she's a much better athlete. Hopefully they're already taking after her as far as intelligence, so hopefully they take after her in her athleticism.
But can she return a punt?
Can she? She's probably faster than me. There's no doubt. I don't know if she'll be able to catch it, though.
Wes, one last question for you here. You mentioned playing for Coach Case. He's still coaching, of course, and having a lot of success up at South Central Calhoun.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to keep in touch with him over the years? And tell us what it's like to coach for him, because I had a conversation when I was trying to get a hold of you. I went through him to get a hold of you with your number, and we had a conversation. I told him, I said, he's a great person and a great coach, but you've had the chance to play for him. Tell us what it's like to play for Coach Case.
Oh, it's awesome. Coach Case has a unique way of connecting with players. I've been around a lot of great coaches, some great ones, but he has a unique way of connecting with players and kind of getting the best, or not kind of, he does get the best out of you. And it's an unassuming way that he's one of the best. I loved him. He got me really excited. I was trying to do whatever I could to be the starting quarterback when I was a sophomore. I mean, I can remember it, but he got me excited about playing defense. And I love playing defense. Trust me, I love to hit people. But he got me excited about just kind of doing everything. I think he's so great with his words. And, I mean, he's got a great family. His daughter actually went to South Dakota when I was coaching there. She helped out the volleyball team. I know his other son, he went down to, I'm missing it.
Grandview.
The college. Yep, thank you. And then his other son is in South Dakota. So, I know the family really well, and he does a great job. And really, if any of those players are listening, make sure that they listen to Coach Case, and they're doing whatever they can to help him win, and he's doing whatever he can to help those players win. So try and check the scores as much as I can. It's a little bit harder, but I try and check the scores to make sure that those guys are doing the right things.
Well, Wesley, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations on the job. We'll be following how you do throughout the season, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Wesley.
Wesley Bichonner, once again, the head coach of Wisconsin Eau Claire, the Blue Golds. So look for him in the score boxes this fall once again. And we're going to wrap up KCIM Sports Rewind here, Jeff. But our thanks to Anna Fleece, Wesley Bishoner for joining us this morning. Great to catch up with them. Also, another former athlete around the area, Haley Burks, playing in the NAIA semifinals last night.
Yeah, they were up in Sioux City with Northwestern College. Ended up falling in a close one to Concordia. Got down by 20 in the first half. Battled back, took a lead with 4 minutes to go in the game, and ended up losing 82-79. But 10.4 rebounds for her in the loss last night. But a great career ramping up for her. They went 29-5 this year.
I was going to say, I believe she's a senior this year,
yes.
right?
Yep,
right.
you bet.
That wraps up a great college career after a great high school career for Haley Burks. By the way, catch a podcast available at carrollbroadcasting.com. You can catch the live stream either on our KCIM page of today's show or on the Johnston Communication page.
Bet.
And our thanks to Johnston Communications for helping us live stream KCIM Sports Rewind.
When you need to know.